to remind you that this evening's meeting is being live streamed on our YouTube channel. So we start by introducing ourselves. So, Jonathan.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Nelson. I'm portfolio holder for transformation and organisational development.
No, sorry, environmental excellence. Hello, I'm Julie Massey-Boyle. I'm Deputy Leader and Finance Portfolio Holder. I'm Jo Copperstone. I'm Portfolio Holder for Economic Development.
Good evening, I'm Frank Wymart. I'm portfolio holder for communities, housing and planning.
Thank you, Cabinet members. Then turn to the Managing Director.
Leader, thank you. Hi, I'm Trevor Holden and I'm the Managing Director. And for the officer team, go around to my left.
Good evening, I'm Rodney Fitchell. I'm the Assistant Director of Finance.
Good evening, all. James Sesby, Director of People and Communities.
Good evening, Debbie Lower, Director of Resources. Good evening, Ella Hodge, Monitoring Officer.
Good evening, I'm James Overy, Committee Clerk.
Thank you for that. Okay, so that moves us then on to tonight's agenda. Declarations of interest. No. There are no apologies or absences for this, so that's good. Thank you for being here. Moves on then to the minutes of the meeting, starting at page 6. I'll take those on block. Is there anything in there that needs changing, updating, adding, deleting for anybody? No? Okay, you happy to take those as they are and sign those? Yeah, okay, thank you. Is there any public speakers? I don't believe there's any public speakers.
There's no public speaking, Jim.
And this evening we have no one who's a non-cabinet member, so I won't invite them to speak, but should someone turn up, then we might change my mind. Overview and scrutiny aren't represented this evening. The chairman's away, and the vice chairman knows that's not very well, so we received their draft minutes, so we just take those on board as they are. I don't think there's anything too much in there to worry about. That takes on then to item 8, being the revenue, budget and council tax for 2023-24, starting at page 13. Rodney, are you introducing this one?
No, you good.
Thank you, Leader. Very much this is the annual revenue budget, one of 3 papers coming this evening. Very much to set the overall budget, so it's the revenue budget, the capital programme, and treasury management. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the key points of the revenue budget and then later on we'll look at the capital budget and treasury management budget. So overall, I think the key message is that government support has gone up by 3% a year compared to last year, so that's a 3% increase in our core spending power. But when you compare that to our inflationary pressures, obviously we're not immune from inflation from pay, fuel and utilities, you can see that actually the amount of money we're getting from government is not enough to keep up with the inflationary pressures we're facing. However, saying that, we have been able to deliver savings and efficiencies to put forward a budget tonight, very much looking at no increase in council tax and no use of reserves, which is actually a really good position to be in. Obviously, looking ahead in the future, you can still see that actually we predict that government funding is still not really going to keep in line with inflation in future years. So we're going to have to continue to deliver savings or increase income in order to balance our budgets in the medium term. But we have listened to this challenge in the past, and actually I'm confident that actually that federal funding gap is something we can address, which is why I'm comfortable for you to be recommending or looking at potential new council tax increase and no use of reserves. I do just need to update you. These papers came out when the provisional finance settlement has been announced. Yesterday we had the final settlement come out, and very much it's very little change. The amount of services grant we're getting is going up by £4,598, and the amount of funding guarantee grant is going down by exactly the same amount of £4,598. So overall, we're in exactly the same position as the provisional settlement. But that's all I was going to say on budgets.
Okay, thank you for that, Rodney. It sounds a bit job correction. Yeah, just Trudy.
Yeah, thank you, Lee. I was going to say exactly the same thing. Somebody's got to justify their job, I think. Yeah, I'm really pleased. This has been a really tough year. There's been a lot going on, more than, I mean, the last couple of years have been bad, and this year has added to it. So I'm really pleased we're in the position we're in. I believe we'll be the only Norfolk council that will be in this position that have been able to freeze our council tax for 2 years, and also being almost one of the lowest in the districts. Yes, you can see going forward, as ever, there's a gap in the medium-term financial plan, which we're always challenged to fill, and looking at efficiencies, especially moving into the Horizon building, I think we can rise to that challenge, as the Section 151 officer has said. We'll carry on looking at efficiencies through IT, and our starting point will forever be that we will not be raising council tax. So every year when we start looking at the budget, the first port of call is not to raise council tax. So I'm so pleased that we are in that position. And I thank all the officers, all the portfolio holders for their help in balancing this budget. It's good to see that we've got so many earmarked reserves, and as we'll see in later papers, that we're managing to move forward on so many projects, because in the past when we've had funding, we've always put money aside to cover the projects that we want to get on with. So I'm more than happy to put forward an amended 1.1, because we can now take out the subject to confirmation of the finalised settlement figures. So I'd like to recommend to council 1.1 through to 1.4, and then cabinet to note 2.1 and 2.2.
Okay, thank you for that, Trudy. Any, Joe?
Thank you, Leader. I would like to second the recommendation. I just want to say how grateful I am to Rodney and his team, and also the portfolio holder for finance, recognising the fact that there is a cost of living crisis and our families are under financial pressure, and to freeze our portion of council tax is just what is required at the moment. So it's a really good job done well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Joe. Any questions or any points for clarity from anybody? No? Okay, likewise, I'd just like to again thank Rodney and the team for presenting a balanced budget to us, which is always exciting to see, but also as part of the wider team, the directors and the managing director for all the work that they've done actually getting us to where we are. As you said, it's been a tough time. We've had some difficult years with COVID, then the Ukraine war, and now moving forward we've got the cost of living crisis. But again, it just shows that this council is a council of action. It's been proactive in setting strategies, and those strategies have delivered for us. And we're now in a good place where we can support our residents without having to go out of our proportion of council tax. So that's really good to see. Okay, so recommendations are before you on page 24. They've been proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
It's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you. Okay, so that moves us on then to item number 9, being the capital strategy and capital programme, starting at page 33. I guess this is down to you, Darren.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. I'd just like to the report and programme and strategy. This details the council's capital budgets for 23, 24 and the future capital programme through to 27, 28. Overall, the capital programme totals £25 million worth of spending over the duration of the programme. And assuming the programme is fully committed throughout that period, all the expenditure will be funded from reserves, earmarked reserves, grant funding and capital receipts without the need to borrow to deliver any more work on the programme. Budgets are included for potential development of depot works, other council-owned assets, and the purchase of properties for the provision of homelessness accommodation. And there's also £7 million included within the capital budgets for loans to Water and Growth Limited when new sites are identified for development in the future. And that's
actually, as I just said, it's nice to see that when times have been good, we've put money aside to deliver all these projects that we need to do. Because actually, we want to deliver, but something like the temporary accommodation will actually help close our gap going forward as well. That's one of the things that will do that. And then the Fretton Depot will help with our carbon footprint. So I'm really pleased that we've got that money sitting there. The one that I really look forward to us pushing ahead with is the Broadland growth. So I'm hoping that we can find a project really quickly and get on and deliver on that as well. So as I said, as Darren has said, there's a 25 million capital programme already funded in the earmarked reserves. So I'm very happy to put forward to council recommendations 1.1 through to 1.3.
Thank you, Trudy. Jonathan?
Yeah, I'd like to second this. It's excellent to see our capital strategy really pushing forward with what we need to do as a district, and obviously having the funds there from careful management of our funds over the last 3 years is brilliant. We are going to be able to grow our economy, and we are going to be able to support individuals, which is what we wanted to do with it. So I think it's all good, and I think it's really positive to see that we can move forward with such a positive strategy. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Jonathan. Any questions or points of clarity? No? Okay, so the recommendation is on page 41.
And as has been said, the projects that we've done, some of them have been quite amazing, very ambitious, and delivered some good things for Broadland and its residents, both on a personal level and on a business level. Those have come forward to enhance the place that we live in, which is lovely to see. As I say, the programme going forward is quite ambitious, around the £25 million spend, but it's useful. It's good to see that that's fully funded in the funds that we have available, which therefore means we can challenge ourselves yet more, become more ambitious, and hopefully look and seek and find more things to do. But I agree that there is this need to deliver the homes that are much needed in our area, and hopefully we can do that quickly and in an affordable way for our residents. So recommendation has been proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
It's unanimous, Chairman.
Thank you, James. Okay, that moves us on then to the Treasury Management Strategy at page 51. So again, Darren, over to you.
Yes, indeed, thank you. So the Treasury Management Strategy is very much part of our statutory requirement to produce a document that sets out our policies, our procedures, our way of working around the whole Treasury management function of the Council. It's a set of very standard statements and reports. Overall, there's no major changes to the report from 23-24. Although CIPRA recently updated their Treasury policies that includes more emphasis on the importance of authorities, funding directed towards projects that enhance and develop the local area rather than potentially projects that are just for commercial yield. So that's very much evident in the council programme and proceeding this, that's where our funding is definitely being channeled towards. The policy and all of the associated documents are on the three principles of security, liquidity, and yield. And I think we've demonstrated how we manage our treasury investment before we kind of stick to those three core principles. So the report includes the treasury policy statement, the annual investment strategy, notes on any counterparty risk issues that we strive to kind of get, make sure that we're completely covered against those risks as much as we can be. The scheme of delegation, the treasury strategy, prudential indicators, which we are by statute directed to include, and that kind of monitors where we kind of invest in because we can invest with also a section that just gives details on the direction of interest rates in the future, and sort of that economic advice from our treasury advisors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Darren. Judy?
Yes, thanks, Darren. Yeah, this paper is very much a reporting back to council on how we've been performing. We've seen actually we've got better return on our investments. Every cloud is a silver lining with interest rates rising, so as our return has risen as well. We haven't breached any of the indicators, we haven't got any borrowing. If we need to borrow, the option is there to borrow, if we were to come up with a project that we wanted to. We are continuing, as we have done in the past, to invest ethically. So there are countries that are available to invest in, but we've made a decision we will not invest in them, so they're in the papers as well. So having said that, I'm happy to recommend 15.1, 1 through to 7.
Okay, thank you for that. Brian?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm very happy to second this proposal. I think, as the portfolio holder for finance has said, it's very clear that we're balancing risk and return with the ethical responsibilities, and I very much support them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Brian, any questions or any points from anybody? No, again, I'd just like to say that it's reassuring to see we're in such a healthy position, both around our governance and the way in which we're doing things and our ability to deliver as part of that and make the treasury management work for us. So again, it just emphasises the strength of the council and the way in which the council works, and delivers the things that it does. So that's really good. Recommendations on page 60, which we proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Thank you, James. Okay, so that moves on then to item 11, being the council tax assistance scheme. Sorry, I didn't take enough time. I should take a bit more time.
So slow.
Yeah. Good evening, Mike. So you clear on this one?
So just to say thank you, Chairman. I've got links here again from each one, just to go through the details. This one is because of the nature of the scheme. We put quite a lot of resource in as Councillor Boyle will know last year to change. Obviously this year we want to see that pan out, but I'll hand over to you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm here today to present the Council Assistance Scheme for 2023-24. As you all probably know, it is an annual scheme which is required to be reviewed and agreed every year and to be ongoing through the governance process. As Mike said, last year and a couple of years prior, we made a number of changes to the scheme to improve it, to increase its fairness, and to future-proof the scheme as more and more of our residents move on to universal credit. We needed to make sure it was fit for purpose. And that's the changes that we've made have been in place now for a number of years and they're proving to be successful. Because there's a number of changes were made last year, they haven't been in for a sufficient amount of time before the process that needs to be done for consultation for any new changes, etc. They've not been in place to give us enough time to review that properly. So that's why we're not proposing any new changes for this year, because we need to have sufficient time to actually review the changes that were made last year. Also this year we are getting a new IT system in revenues and benefits teams, and we need to take time to explore what the new system can do, which will enable us to do things, for example, automation in our assessments, which will have an impact on the scheme. We need to make sure it's designed into the scheme as well. We need to fully review what that can do before we go to make new changes. And therefore, no changes are being proposed to the scheme for this year. So the request is to recommend the scheme goes through as it currently is for the next financial year.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Judy?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, as you said, last year we made huge amount of changes, to, as you said, future-proof really. And I don't think there's been any glaring problems with that, so I don't see any reason to change it at this stage. And there is always, just a reminder to residents, that there is always a discretionary pot that we can help anyone with. So never don't knock on our doors, make sure you let us know as soon as you can if there's a problem. But other than that, I'm happy to recommend 7.1.
Okay, thank you. Trudy, Judy?
Thank you. Yes, I'm very happy to second this. I know that you did an awful lot of work last year, so, and it's working well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or points of clarity? No? Okay, well, we have a recommendation on page 86, which has been proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
Unanimous.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Okay, that moves on then to item 12, being the Health and Wellbeing Partnerships Funding Delegations, starting at page 95. So, you, Jamie, or have you got anything on?
I'm going to defer to the subject matter expert, Chair, if that's all right.
Well, why is this Over to you, Abigail.
Thank you, Chair. So I am the Health and Wellbeing Partnership Officer, and I've been working on the Broadland Health and Wellbeing Partnership for the last few months. So I'll just give a really brief outline of the paper. So we're bringing this report to you firstly to explain the funding the council holds for allocation by the partnership and get the necessary delegations in place. And secondly, just to introduce the partnership to you guys and explain what an exciting time this is for our leadership in health and wellbeing. So to give a bit of context, the integrated care system was formed last summer with the health and wellbeing partnerships as part of their structure. They bring together strategic colleagues from county and district councils, health services, BCSEs, and also other partners. They were formed on district boundaries to emphasise their local focus on the individual and focus on addressing the wider determinants of health to avoid health crises. And we are very lucky to have Fran chairing all our meetings. The Broadland Partnership has already seen some really exciting examples of partners coming together to agree and actually carry out projects collectively and start to think strategically about tackling the complex problems facing the health and wellbeing of our Broadland residents now. And it's already a real feel amongst partners that this is worth investing their time in, and they're really enthusiastic about our progress so far. So looking at funding, the partnerships were given £300,950 from public health and COVID recovery funding in 2022 to allocate. Broadland District Council was purely the holder of this money, and it's intended to be allocated by the partnership. So the Director of People and Communities has already got the delegation to spend this money under previous COVID delegations in 2021. However, the Better Care Fund has been another funding stream from County Council, where £82,000 was allocated to 3 projects across both Broadland and South Norfolk partnerships. So here Broadland Council as a partner was successful in their bids being chosen and will now receive the money from NCC. But before this money is released, we need delegated authority for the Director of People and Communities or someone else if preferred, in consultation with the relevant portfolio holder to enable this money to be spent and allocated as intended. A further funding stream that we're aware of will be £204,750 across 2 years, and this will be from public health expected in April. And we're also happy to report on the spend and impact, as this was also recommended by ONS. So after consulting with Section 151 officer, we're recommending firstly to delegate authority to accept monies offered to Broadland District Council by the Health and Wellbeing Partnerships to the Director of People and Communities in consultation with the portfolio holder for finance. Secondly, to delegate the spend of any Health and Wellbeing Partnership money allocated to Broadland Council to the Director of People and Communities in consultation with the portfolio holder for Communities, Housing and Planning. So I will stop there, but we are happy to take any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Fred?
Thank you, Chairman. And thank you, Andy, for a really good presentation. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think the Health and Wellbeing Partnership has been very successful. But this paper is very much about ensuring that the finance is clearly defined, so that money comes in and money goes out through the partnership into the projects as described. And I think that's important, really, so we know how it's being managed, and everyone else knows that's being managed. It's really important. So I'd like to make a change to the recommendations. The money, I'd like to both recommendations actually. The money from the Health and Wellbeing Partnership will delegate the authority through the Health and Wellbeing Partnership to the Section 151 officer and the portfolio holder for finance. Because then it is a finance rather than anyone else who's involved in the Health and Wellbeing Partnership. So it's one step away. So just keep it safe. So that's the recommendation as it is on page 95 and also 101. So recommendation 1 and 2. So both of them would change to Section 151 officer and the portfolio holder for finance. Okay. No, just Section 151 for again.
No, it's all right.
As you're a participant in the partnership, it's probably better if you're one step away. Then the Section 151 officer actually has an overview of this. However, it's just being held in a pot and then going out again. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for that.
That was clear enough, sorry.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Fran. I think it's that element of, as you say, separation around the control of the finances to actually what yourself and the director want to do and how you push that forward. So, yeah. Okay, Judy?
Thank you. This money, I think, will give a lot of help to a lot of our residents. So I'm very pleased to second the recommendations. However, I just would like to ask a question about 6.4, environmental impact, where it says that they are considering the use of HVO fuel. I would like it to have said they are going to use HVO fuel. Thank you.
And excellent, you made point, we will be using HVA fuel.
Thank you.
I'm sure the portfolio holder is very pleased to hear that. Okay, thank you for seconding that. Judy, any other questions or points? Judy?
Yeah, just to say, I think some of these projects can make a real difference, and I think the reporting back of what they've delivered is absolutely essential, because there may be things here that we want to carry on doing as a council anyway. So I think it is vital that we get those figures back.
Yeah, well said, because there's really exciting things going on here that will make a lot of difference to some considerable people in what they want to do. So I think that's some good support and some good delivery in certain projects. Aaron?
Thank you, Jim. Yeah, obviously there was some discussion around this overview and scrutiny, as you can't see right now. But one of the suggestions was that obviously it was brought back to overview and scrutiny so they can actually see progress that we're making. And I'm quite happy to add that as a recommendation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just second that. Yeah.
So Judy, are you happy with the additional recommendation?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, okay, so you come back to ONS around the appointment, as you say.
Yeah, the members of ONS just wanted to see the progress that was being made. And I don't think that's unreasonable. I mean, obviously, it's not a function of the district council, but a lot of the projects are being undertaken by particularly the communities team. So I think it's really good for ONS to see that, and the wider public, to be frank. I think it's really important they see the good work that is going on, because there's an enormous amount of good work going on. You know, obviously it's funded externally, however, it's been undertaken, a lot has been undertaken by our teams. Obviously some other departments too, or a lot of other departments too. But I think there's very little understanding really of the ICS, and this may help some people to actually understand the good work that is going on within the ICS. So I don't see that as a negative, I see it as a positive. More people to actually see and understand.
Yeah, it's a huge example of positivity around partnership working and then what working together can deliver more, which is great to see. Sure.
Chairman, can I just pick up on the early conversation, just for clarity for anybody watching, when we were changing the delegation? Really, that's to bring in line with recognising that the council is merely acting as what's termed as the accountable body, i.e. the banker. So it's a finance transaction in and out, while we hold the cash for the partnership, informed then by Councillor Wynock as the chair and Jamie as the lead director. Just some clarity to the discussion, if that's okay.
I think that's a very good point, well made.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, Trevor. That's good. Any other questions or points? No? Okay, so we have the recommendations before us on page 101 as amended.
And with the additional.
As amended, both recommendation 1 and 2, they recognise the section 151 officer and the finance portfolio holder as the decision makers in facilitating those things. And then the third recommendation to be added is to actually include this in the ONS work plan, so the floor plan, so that it comes back in due course and they get updated, and therefore we will get updated as a council on the tremendous work that has been done, but also going forward we expect to be done. Okay, so it's been proposed and seconded. All those in favour?
Unanimous, Chair.
Okay, thank you for that, James. That moves us on then to page 87, being the forward plan. Is there anything in the forward plan for anyone that they want to raise or highlight? If not, we'll just note it. No, we've got some busy times ahead. We're looking at the things that are in there, so we'll receive the forward plan and move on. Okay. So that moves on then to item 14, where the press and public will be excluded from the meeting for the remaining items of business, because otherwise information which is exempt information by virtue of paragraph 3 of part 1 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972, as amended by the Local Government Access to Information Variation Order 2006, would be disclosed to them.